Hello there, gentlefolk. I thought I might try talking on here for a while. My brother sent me something in the mail. I'll open it. It's going to be a little noisy. I may be going to open it. Okay. The reason why I'm opening it, I got to open this too. I was talking to him. Okay, this wasn't well thought out. There's a surprise. I can't bite things with my teeth anymore. I miss that. I guess I can. Okay. I was talking to him about my struggles. So, he's sort of a thoughtful person. But this is called sake. And it's got like a thing there. And it can help you put your pants on. And I guess it has clips on it where you can just from a sitting position somehow put your socks on. I really don't see how that would work. I don't need help like pulling up my socks. I need help like getting uh, my socks over my feet because I can't reach my feet. So I don't see how that would work. But that plastic tasted horrible. Yeah. Anyways, I got mixed feelings about that. It's a thoughtful gift and all, but maybe I wouldn't be in this mess if you would have took me in for 3 months in the suburbs and let me walk around the neighborhood while I could still walk, or maybe got my head out of the weird space it is. As far as this building, I just kind of needed a change. I tried to find someplace suitable else to live. I had about $6 grand, but you know, still it's a nice gift, I guess. Something thoughtful. I don't know if it'll work or not, but yeah. Speaking of falling down and having trouble putting and being disabled and having trouble like getting dressed and stuff, this is why I can't have a cat. Is because I was trying to do like two things at once. I was opening the refrigerator, and this is right after I made the last video that I put on here. I'm like opening the refrigerator, and the cat's bothering me for something. Or oh yeah, I was throwing him cheese, so he's bothering me about cheese, and I'm trying to open the refrigerator to get the cheese out and messing with the microwave at the same time. And I just start going over backwards, which I do sometimes. I think it would have been better off like falling, but you know, there was a wall there, and I really want to put my head through the wall. So I caught myself with my bad leg, uh, like staggered back and did like a stutter step on my with all my weight on my bad leg, and I tweaked it. I think I mentioned it in the description on my last video. And yeah, that hurt. That hurt right away. It hurt instantly, and it resulted in me like taking more Valium and more um, gabapentin for a couple of days. And I counted up my Valium. I've taken 24 5 milligram pills in 16 days. Now, I was doing a pill a day and cutting a pill in half. So that's like 8 extra pills from what my dose was. I'm trying. I'm still not sleeping normally, and I'm trying to do something about that. But that's not going too well either. And as far as this week and me like making any phone calls, didn't do that either. So I've been a very bad boy as far as like, well, inertia, depression, all that stuff's very hard to overcome. And lots of times I think about how things were, and part of the reasons it's ironic, but part of the reason that I'm in the mess I'm in now is I was very content just to be able to do I don't know, eat and chew pork chops. Just I was like too content. I was content with nothing. I was content with like, well, I'm not in the hospital. Nobody's cutting me open. I don't really need to. I just lived in the moment and didn't really need to. Wasn't really concerned about money or status or anything like that. I just assumed that. Uh, hmm. Not so much. I understood aging. You know, there's that saying that, oh, that's not going to happen to me, and you see that a lot with young people when you watch them on the internet. They're like, when you're young and you haven't been touched by bad health or uh, you really just that's not going to happen to me. It just you know it intellectually, but you don't know it in your gut. And I kind of knew it in my gut because all that stuff happened to me when I was very young. So I was just content to live in the moment. And uh, yeah, I lost whatever thread or line of thought I had going here. But it's past the minute mark, so I don't get any do overs. I was trying to get into like the mindset that I had when I was younger is the reason why I just kind of assumed that I would get medical treatment when I needed it. That I didn't understand the way the world worked and the way like if you don't have money, you're not going to get necessarily get medical treatment. I didn't understand the harsh realities of the world, sort of like a young person, I guess, that doesn't understand like yeah, you're not immortal. You know, you're going to get sick at some point, and if you're not going to get sick, you're going to get old and you're going to hurt. I've mentioned this before, but I had a hilarious conversation with a 27-year-old Norwegian kid where he was like, "It doesn't just because you get old doesn't necessarily mean you're going to hurt." And I was like, I've never talked to a person over a certain age that didn't have complaints about aches and pains. Never. all the all the sins of your past catch up to you as far as like falls, motorcycle accidents, knee injuries, just the wear and tear. Like I have like my best friend is a health nut, you know, to the nth degree, and he's got arthritis in his neck from when he played football, and got like no cartilage in one knee from jogging and stuff like that. Just it's just what happens to people. Not everybody has to have like pants puller uppers and stuff. And some people, like my Uncle Joe, the World War II vet, made it into his 80s. And I fished beside, he was like 80 years old, and I fished beside him on a boat in Lake Erie, standing up in this big boat, rocking up and down. And I'm just looking at him. I'm just marveling at him because I'm like, I'm getting tired. I realize, like, I got CRPS, but I'm in a lot better shape than this dude. But he's hanging in there somehow. I was just thinking, like, how old is he? Like 83? Yeah, I knew he was in his 80s. I found that amazing because that's hard to do if you've ever never done that. It's one thing to just stand there for hours. It's another thing to stand there and like deal with being in a boat and leaning up against the gunwale of the boat and fishing and stuff. It takes a toll on you. But anyways, um, yeah. So now I fantasize about things like eating pork chops. I don't really, because of my teeth situation, I fantasize about having my teeth back. Or I just need to go back in time about 6 years and make some other choices. Um, yeah. And I was just very cavalier about it because I just figured, everybody loses their teeth. What's the big deal? I didn't understand, like, why don't people that have dentures, them old people would complain about their aches and pains to me like all the time. They never complained about dentures. My mom actually had all her teeth pulled and had dentures from like an early age. I'm talking like I never remember not having dentures. I mean, she had a bad dentist and a bad dental history, so I don't ever remember my mom not having dentures. So she was born in '33, and I was born in '67. So that means she had me pretty late. She had me like she was 34, and yeah, so she probably had dentures by the time she was 40. She was always adjusting them, and they were always like flipping out, falling loose and stuff. But she never complained about them hurting or not being able to eat with them. But I hate them. Uh, yeah, I don't really have anything too cheery to talk about. I mean, last night I had a serious decision to make because I heard this. I had my window open because it was very cold out, and the stupid cat decided to stay outside and not come in when it was 13 degrees. I don't know why, but 1:52 in the morning, because like I said, I haven't been sleeping right. Um, I hear this noise that basically sounds like somebody breaking in my house. So I'm like, oh shit, I better check that out. And I go out there, and there's nothing in the living room. Nobody's breaking in my house. It just sounds like whatever's happening is happening in my house. I look out the peephole, and there's this great big guy on the floor. And I can't, you know how peepholes are. It's not exactly like the clearest um, vision thing. If it was a vision test, you can't say the first one's better. No, the second one's better. I kept looking in there and seeing the same, like, indistinct figure lying on the ground, rolling around. I'm like, is that Roy falling out of his wheelchair? Who is that? Should I help him? Should I open the door? Should I get involved? So I stood there for like a long time trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. And there's this big guy on the floor, and he had a bag, and it looked like he was trying to scrape something up off the floor. And I'm like, did he? I thought all kind of things because I had a lot of time to think about it. So I was like, did he like knock over the salt? And he's trying because we have like a container of salt for the snow, like right beside the door, and he's trying to like pick up the salt and put it back in the container. What the hell's going on out there? And I'm like, the guy's talking to himself, and I'm like, it's probably drunk. And it's like, it's probably the dude upstairs that has the service animal. So I just sat there and watched him for like 4 minutes. And I'm like, you know what? If he really needs help, I'm going to watch him. And if he can't get his shit together, I'll get involved. But I ain't getting involved. I don't know the guy. Uh, yeah. And I don't like drunk people very much. So I just sat there and watched him. And he finally like got to his feet and was, I don't even remember what he was saying, but he was saying a lot of stuff to himself. And he had like a blue bag that I didn't notice that was on the other side of him, but he's a great big motherfucker. And he made it to the steps and was just cursing his luck or whatever. But I think he came in and fell down and was having trouble getting up. And then whatever he had with him, he spilled, and he was trying to pick it up. But I could, I'm just looking through a peephole. I couldn't see what the heck was going on. And I just want to get involved in no nonsense at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's the old building. The new building is pretty much, it's kind of settled here now. You got Stampy. I got the guy in the wheelchair I hate, and I got this new guy that was the first time I've ever even seen the guy. So all I heard is he had a service animal. So I don't know what his deal is. I was thinking, is the guy blind? I was thinking all kind of crazy shit. I was like, is that a cane in his hand? Because it looked like he had like a cane or a windshield scraper or something trying to scrape stuff off the floor. I didn't know what the hell I was seeing. Because, the peephole view was not a good view. So I didn't want to open the door and get involved in nonsense. I mean, the pocket maniac drunk guy, he don't live here no more. so I don't have to get involved in drunken nonsense anymore. But if somebody needs help, I would want to help them. But anyways, um, so yeah, I made no progress as far as overcoming my inertia, getting more exercise, uh, making any phone calls, setting up any appointments, anything like that. Um, I figured out how to make edible oatmeal. That's about it. So like, I'm running out of sugar. I figured out like finally I've got something to do with all these jars of peaches that I've been getting from Global Meals. So I figured out that like, well, if you chop up these peaches in these jars and you put them in a bowl and you leave a little bit of the clean peaches and heavy syrup. If you leave the some of the syrup in there, it'll sweeten up the oatmeal a little bit. So I was like, oh, this is actually I actually ate almost this whole bowl. Because usually I take like 4 bites of oatmeal to remind myself how much I hate it, and then I throw it in the garbage. And I'm like, oh, it's just oatmeal. Who gives a damn? It's not like throwing away a steak that you didn't cook right. But anyways, it doesn't seem to have affected my digestion or processes. But yeah, this life is not particularly enjoyable. Uh, yeah, I think too much anyway. You know, it's like it's a nice gift. The whatever the hell that device is, I don't know if it works or not. That's supposed to make it easier for me to put pants on and put socks on. But yeah, it would have been nicer if you would have left me stay in your house for like 3 months and trusted me not to be. Why would he think that I would want to live in my parents' house? But I just wanted to get out of here because you can get like in a situation where things aren't going well and it gets to feel like quicksand. You know, it's like you get that tidal undertow thing where you're just like, oh, I give up. What's the use of fighting? I was like, I don't want to get there, man. I don't want to get to that point. If I just like shake up my life and just like leave everything here and just stay in my brother's house for like 6 months, I will have to find a place to stay then. In the meantime, I can help him out, fix his place up and shit. He still doesn't have any hot water. I don't know. He may have actually changed his phone and internet service because I called him and I got like a different message. So he may have, after years, gotten around to doing that. But yeah, he still don't have any hot water. It's February, almost March, and I asked him like last May, I think, if I could move in with him for like 3 months and I'd make sure he had his hot water situation fixed. And he also don't have a shower. He always, the few times that he's been here, he's always like, "Can I use your shower?" It's like a big treat to him to take a shower. And he's like, "Man, if I had a shower, I'd take 2 showers a day." And I was like, "Well, I can make that happen." But some people don't like change. But I'm sure you know what I mean when I'm talking about that feeling of undertow, where you're like struggling and you're trying, and then after a while, you're like, you feel that water pulling at you, and you're just like, fuck it, you just go with it. And yeah, I don't know if I'm there yet. Sometimes that's a gradual process, but I can't seem to. Yeah, I'm talking about my brother and not improving his situation. It's like I ain't doing shit to improve mine. So being a bit of a hypocrite here. Um, there's always next week to try. But yeah, that was a bummer when I hurt my leg because I really didn't fall. I just kind of like put all my weight on one leg and just kind of like hopped backwards and caught myself. It was either that or fall. It happened so fast. I just have this tendency to fall over backwards. I'm always like catching myself on the wall or catching myself on the sink and have this tendency to tip over and fall backwards. And probably has something to do with my knee being bent. at a weird angle, like you know, it looks like it's hyperextended all the time. I don't know. Strange things happen. Like I'll stand next to things, and because my knee is bent like backwards, uh, I'll like burn my leg and not expect it on this heater right here, or I'll bump into something like the bucket in the bathroom, and I'm like, I did not expect that to happen, but my knee just bends a different way than it used to. And trying to tie this with some kind of coherency into the earlier part of it, it's like I never expected none of this because I always got medical care, so I just assumed I have better insurance now than I did when I was younger. But because I'm older and they seem to not want to treat me for things, when I was younger, I don't know. I just didn't expect this. I didn't expect to like have so much trouble getting a knee treated. I'm not trying to cure some sort of lymphatic cancer. I'm trying to just fix a knee that don't work. And yeah, it does kind of wear you out. I mean, the constant struggle and pain of it, and it's very discouraging. Um, and that feeling of kind of like being in it on your own. People sending you nice gifts is nice and all, but I mean, yeah, I'd rather have like the emotional support side of it. I can handle. I could have bought something like that for myself, but like, you know, having somebody to call and be like, "Look, man, I'm in a bad way," and not be afraid. I'm afraid to do stuff like that to make myself emotionally vulnerable. I'm not too vulnerable on here. I mean, yeah, I'm a little bit vulnerable on here because I've had some beefs with people, and people have said some unkind things to me, but not that many people listen to me anymore. So, I don't get much of that stuff, or like quit being a pussy stuff. So, okay, whatever, man. Plus, it doesn't really have that much effect on me from people that don't know you, as opposed to people that know you and yeah, that are family, are supposed to love you, and then it's kind of different than having a stranger be mean to you. So it's not the same. Um, I never did get back in touch with that one person that I said was paying me back the money that they owed me. They called me and they were on their way home from getting groceries, and I was like, "I'll talk to you later in a week." I think I tried to call them once, and they never tried to contact me. They said something about us falling out of touch, and I was like, "Ah, that's probably my fault." Uh, I thought about that, and I was like, "Well, it's not really my fault, but it's just something to say to put them at ease." I mean, I had been calling them, but not excessively. And I just don't really want to be vulnerable. Um, it's another thing it's just a side effect of benzodiazepines, but it's like you're way more sensitive. It's like stuff. I mean, literally nothing used to bother me. It's like as far as the way people acted, if they were like mean to me or they acted weird, I was like mostly just amused by it, or like would be like, "Hey, what?" My brother had this expression, "What's wrong with you? You got a fart stuck crossways or something?" I'd be like that. I'd just be like, "What's your deal, man? You having a rough time of it?" I wouldn't take it personally. I figure it was just something to do with them. And now, like, everything irritates me. It's just no way to live. Even like trying to open that thing was starting to irritate me. And the irritability level, I think, is the worst part of the benzodiazepine experience. Um, and I don't think there's, like I've said before, I don't think there's a definitive answer to that question. Like, do you just get used to the new you and benzos change you forever, or do you go back to being the old you? Because I really miss the old me. And it might be like a matter of time, like, since this has been like a 5 year experience for me, it might be like, maybe if it was a 2 year experience and you got off the shit a little quicker, maybe you could, those GABA receptors can function like they normally function. Maybe it's like the longer you're on the stuff, it's like a permanent, the more permanent it becomes. I don't know. And I don't think there's any scientific data on it. That one thing I know for sure is the medical community is not really up on the whole benzodiazepine thing. So, um, just as far as like how to prescribe it, even when to prescribe it, they prescribe it too liberally, they prescribe it wrongly, like they did to me when they said like, take, they prescribed it to me as a sleep aid and told me to take it every day, which is the exact wrong thing to do. It's like, it's for certain people, they have to take it every day because they got the severe anxiety and they have to take it every day. Okay, that wasn't me. Uh, yeah, for like everybody else, it's like you don't take it every day. That's how you get in the boat that I'm in right now. That's got the hole in it that I'm trying to stop up to keep from sinking. We'll keep with the water metaphors since I was using undertow. Yeah. See, I've already elevated my mood because before I was drowning and in risk of being pulled under by an undertow and just saying, fuck it, I give up. I'm tired of treading water with this undertow pulling at my feet. But now I'm in a boat that's merely got a hole in it. So maybe by the end of the video, I will be on dry land. I don't know. Uh, I just know, like right now, there's certain times in your life where you just gotta like um, ride things out until you get in a better frame of mind, and then you reach that point. My brother calls it, I gotta put my foot down with myself. That's what he says whenever he wants to make himself do something. You can reach a point where you're like, well, you know what? I'm just tired and sick of acting like this or being like this. So today's the day. I'm gonna give it a whirl. Or sometimes it's like a cloud lifting, and the sun peeking out. So you're just like, okay, let's feel different about things. And yeah, I'm actually motivated to try. I mean, I am blind as a bat, and I'm down to my last pair of glasses. If something were to happen to these glasses, uh, yeah, I'm fucked because I can't see for shit. I just take them off as a courtesy, so it's not like I'm looking at the camera all the time or worried about the lighting or anything like that. But it's just it irritates me to watch videos with people with glasses on where you see glare. You know, so but yeah, I remember being a kid in kindergarten wearing glasses and like taking them off sometimes and sticking them then on the old desks. You had your seat, and then you had like a place to put your books underneath the seat. And I would set them on top of my books while I listened to old people ramble about stuff in front of blackboards. Um, that I was wearing glasses like in kindergarten. I've always had bad eyes. Yeah, that's another thing. Like the more that they come up with things like radio keratotomy, where they can fix your eyes so you don't need glasses. Like my landlord had that because he has money. So yeah, he was like, yeah, that was like the greatest thing ever. Is not having to worry about wearing glasses or contacts anymore after I had that RK surgery. and, it costs like $5,000. It's not covered. So the more that they come up, they also have like a thing they can do for your teeth, where they can put a coating on it to prevent tooth decay. I've heard about this. It sounds like something out of a science fiction novel, but they've come up with all these advances. So there's going to be like a greater class distinction. The poor people will be all fucked up, and the rich people will be able to see without glasses and have teeth and whatnot. And I don't know how I feel about that. It just, it's like a natural process to where like the best hunters, they get the best game, they eat the best food, and the women are, they get the better women because the best women are attracted to the best providers. It's like it's all natural, and it's a natural process. And I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that whole thing about like, uh, yeah, I should have teeth right now. That's all. I kind of feel like teeth is a human right. So I feel like if you should be able to get proper dental care in a world where they can split the atom, and they can create boner pills, and they can do like vascular microsurgery, and they got all these advances, and you know, I don't know. I don't. The world is like so confusing. It's such a confused mess, and it doesn't make any sense. It's like because of advances in technology and farming and stuff, it's like everybody could be healthy, everybody could be well fed. But the minute you try to like read this, try socialism or redistribute wealth to where like people get things and don't work for them, it's like we've already seen where socialism, communism, and stuff. What happens is it's a great idea if everybody participates in it, but all that happens is like, oh, this one group says, okay, we're going to be the leaders of this socialist communist situation, and you know, you get your Stalins in your mouths and stuff like that. So I'm conflicted about the whole thing. Um, but yeah, I think teeth should be a human right. When I heard about that procedure where they do something to your teeth that prevents teeth decay or tooth decay, and then you watch like all these people on TV, and they got these ridiculously perfect teeth, and yeah, it's like I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what to make of it. I'd have to like I didn't mean to go here and think about that, but yeah, I wish I didn't have to think about my teeth all the time. But unfortunately, if you lose your front teeth, guard your front teeth, people, because if you lose your front teeth, your tongue doesn't really hit the side of the teeth that are missing on the side, but it hits the side. The front of your tongue is going to be hitting your teeth all the time, and you're going to be feeling that all the time. So you don't ever get away from it. Which I did not know this. Uh, if somebody would have told me it was going to be like this, I would have like robbed somebody for the money to save those two teeth right there. So I guess that's what started me thinking about that. But I think about like, I don't know. It just seems like technology and food wise, we have everything licked as far as like, yeah, we beat down nature. We have medical advances to where we can help people, but somehow I'm still walking around with a bad knee and toothless. It's like you can't fix a knee, really? Okay, you're almost to the point where you have like uh, creating mechanical limbs, like android limbs for people. It's all about money, man. And you look at places like I've known a couple of people that have experienced socialized medicine in Canada, and particularly one guy was like, "Man, their hospitals are a mess." He's like, "Everything's all shoddy there," and really, he was basically like, it looked like the sheets on the beds hadn't been washed. He's like, but it was really just like they had stained sheets. And if you go to hospitals here in the United States, I've been to plenty, unfortunately, and I've never seen like stained sheets that are clean and been laundered but have stains on them. But they claim that that was their experience of being in the hospital in Canada. He was like, man, it's totally different. So it's probably like uh, you still need the money with socialized medicine to get proper medical treatment. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's just kind of riding out this. I need to get like sleeping normally. Today I woke up at 11:42. I had a weird thing where I was up last night watching the drunk guy struggling to get to his feet for like 4 minutes through the peephole at 1:52 in the morning, and then um, I started to get sleepy around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning because I had taken tuna rotten and a half a pill of Valium, and I was like, I'm just going to go with this and sleep, and we'll see what happens. And I had the window open, and I had to have both heaters in here raging because it got down to at least 13 degrees, probably lower. And I just had the window open all night because the cat was being obstinate and not. I was ringing the bell for him, like ringing the bell really loud, like get in here so I could shut the damn window, but he wouldn't come. So I was like, the hell with it. I'm going to go to sleep with him outside and the window open, and you can see it when I woke up at 11:42 was what I was trying to get to. I woke up at 11:42 in the morning, almost noon, and I went out there and I could see my breath. So got really that window was open for a good 12 hours. It's like, why did you stay out so long? He was when I came out, he was huddled by the register, and then I didn't feel very good. I never do when I first wake up. So I was like, I'll give you a little bit of tuna fish. Nope, I'm going to give you this whole can of tuna fish apparently, and uh, leave you to your devices. Come back in here and lay in bed. And I don't know. I just need to live in I do need to live in a different place, and I've been thinking about it. Like, it looks like this $1,400 stimulus thing is probably not going to happen until mid-March. I had hopes it would happen sooner, but it'll get here. And then, like, I have the rent paid here for the next 3 months. So, in other words, whatever money I get, I only have to pay um, like two bills out of a small electric, like less than $100 in bills, and I don't have to any food bill because I got the global meals, so I could easily pocket $1,000 a month. So you add the $1,400 to that, and the $1,000 that I got in the bank right now, it's like in 3 months' time I'll have plenty of money to move out of here. That would be good for me to live in a different situation. Uh, I did talk to, um, I guess I'll just call her my case manager at Coleman, and I was like, I pretty much told her how I was. Like, I don't really feel like doing anything. And I told her a couple of times, if you want to do anything for me, just scout. Scout around and see if you can find a place where I can have a first floor apartment with nobody over top of me. That's my ambition in life now, is to live in a building where I don't have to worry about noise over top of me or water pouring through the ceiling. That's like that's that's my main ambition in life right now. It's like I can't guarantee that my leg will ever be normal again. It doesn't look normal. I got to do a video sometime of me walking around on it. Um, they look pretty bad. I did a video like that probably over a year ago, and it looked pretty bad. Somebody said it looks like your legs are gonna break, and yeah, it's not a pretty sight. I don't know. I mainly don't walk unaided now for very much more than a few steps. I'm either using a walker or a cane or leaning up against the wall, so it probably will be a video of me walking around for 3 seconds and falling. Uh, but I can demonstrate the proper way to take a fall. Uh, but yeah, I'm not, like I said, I'm not really doing what I'm supposed to be doing, so I can't really complain too much about my situation if I'm not doing anything to make it better. I'm complaining mainly about the fact that the medical community is like can't seem to get any help from uh, as far as the knee. It's, I haven't opened that envelope yet. Like I said, I'm kind of in that depressed, inert mode. So I haven't opened that envelope yet that has a list of orthopedists. My first priority will be to get a primary caregiver, and I fantasize about cortisone shots in the knee, and then I can go to an optometrist like I have been saying. This must be terribly boring for you. All these repeats. Um, but what can I say? I'm not trying. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Uh, yeah. Here's how bad things can get. It's like I have to make a. I made a point that one day uh, to masturbate. I was gonna try to find a better way to say that. It's like I don't even care about that or want to do that. It's like I'm not really interested in that. Uh, not interested in. I think I did it more like a painkiller. I used to use that as a painkiller. It seemed preferable to opiates. But yeah, it's not getting anything done, and it doesn't seem to relax me or take the edge off or anything like that. It just seems sometimes it just seems like, well, I haven't done that for a while. I should probably do that. It's sort of like yeah, I should probably like clean my refrigerator. I haven't done that for a while. It's like sort of on that level almost. That's if I had a healthy body. Now cleaning the refrigerator would literally be torture for me. So, um, yeah. So we're gonna have one more cold night here. Like it's gonna be even colder tonight. Single digits, low single digits. Like I think a low of 2 degrees. And then today's a Saturday. Sunday we're gonna get a warm up. And then, but this has been really weird and highly unusual. Is we've had snow on the ground. I wish I would have kept track, but we've had snow on the ground for at least 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, which is what it used to be like when I was a kid, and that's changed. Snow don't stay on the ground we don't, that long, like ever. So this is highly unusual that we've had snow for maybe as long as 4 weeks. I just don't remember because it's not worth keeping track of. Like I said before, it's not worth making a snowman or making a snow fort. if you're a kid uh, or anything, because it's going to melt in like 3 or 4 days. You know, if the snow stayed on the ground for a week, it was kind of like surprising. It's just the way the weather patterns changed since I was younger. But this is like old school winter we've had now for February. I swear to God, there must have been. I suppose there's some way I could look it up, but it must have been snow on the ground since for the whole month of February. That maybe it just seems that long because that's only 3 weeks. I don't know. I have to check into that. See if I can look that up somehow. But there's a chance that this week it's going to start to thaw out. There's a lot of snow to get rid of out there. See, when I was a kid, we had this place, Canton Baptist Temple, and they had this huge parking lot, and they would snow plow. I'm not exaggerating a bit. They would snow plow these mounds of snow that were 15 feet high, and we'd be walking out sweating in like late June, and there would still be like these crusts of ice that were left over. That's how much, you know, this is like not too far from Canada. That's how much more snow there was and how much longer it stayed on the ground when I was younger. Because I remember that thinking how odd that was. It's like, man, what is it out here about 80? And then you'd look and there would be like this crust of like ice just sitting there left over from these gigantic mounds of snow. And I remember my foster brother like found that found one of those mounds of snow, and it had turned more or less into like a mixture of ice and gravel and shit. But anyways, he jumped a BMX motorcycle, or no, not a BMX motorcycle. I'm thinking of those enduro street bikes that he used to ride, but a regular BMX bicycle, and he did like this jump off of it, and it was like 8 feet high. Very unwise move, man, because asphalt is unforgiving when you don't land right on a bicycle. But yeah, that was crazy. That was just a stupid thing to do. But yeah, that was when Evil Knievel and whatnot was a bad influence on kids, because we would set up like we'd always get hurt too, but keep doing it. But we'd like take tires and set up boards and make up these ramps, and like, you know, do it all the time and just jump off these ramps on bicycles. As I don't know, kids that are probably too old to be doing that shit. And then he was like, "Oh, you know, that's like it was like a natural ramp made out of snow." And it's like, I think I might have cautioned him, like, "Hey, man, don't do that." He was like, "No, it's perfect." It's like, no, this isn't like 3 feet or 4 feet high off of these boards, because we pile up tires, like I said, and like make ramps in the backyard and jump off of these ramps. And he wiped out spectacularly. I mean, he didn't end up in the hospital or anything. He just got busted up in a safe, nice way. He wasn't like me, where like I was trying to do a wheelie down the street and I flipped the bike over, and all my weight went on my toe, and I severely sprained my ankle. And then my sister was mocking me for being a pussy. I remember that, because she was like, I twist my ankles all the time. She didn't know the difference between a severe sprain, which it's actually a severe sprain is actually more painful than breaking your foot, and turning your ankle. You know, like basketball players do all the time, where they limp around and they kind of walk it off and go on the sidelines and get a little numbs it on there and get their foot taped up, and then they go hobbling back out there. It's like, no. But I remember her making fun of me and whatnot. And my ankle was all like a balloon after that. And I was hopping around on crutches, and I learned how to do tricks on crutches. I remember that. I could do all kind of fancy tricks on crutches. lift my legs up and just walk around on the crutches like stilts. And then I could do this other thing that people really enjoyed, which is you got your crutches, right? Pretend these are your crutches. So what you do is you get started. You got your one good leg in the middle. This is a very dangerous thing to do. And you can go like this. You can spring off of your leg, and then you spring off of the one crutch, and you go forward with the other crutch, and you land with that crutch and land with your leg at the same time, and then you can literally run with crutches. So I was fairly athletic, so I figured out how to do this, and I would do this on the playground and just freak people out because it had like recess, and I was on crutches on recess, so I was like doing this thing where I was running with crutches, which just people found very bizarre. The other thing was like, well, that's an obvious trick, you just lift your leg up and then like walk with the crutches as stilts. You just have to be fairly strong to do it, and you have to use your own momentum. And then when you go to fall forward on the crutches, that's when you catch yourself with your good leg, or you fall down and everybody laughs at you. And if somebody's nice, they try to help you up. But it's very hard to get up, when you got a sprained ankle and you only got one good leg. It's very hard to get up by yourself. The kids are pretty mean, so they might like leave you there like a turtle turned upside down. So yeah, that's sort of a fond memory of being able to do those things. And now, like feeding cheese to my cat can get me in trouble. You know, yeah. So yeah, I should look that up on YouTube and see if anybody else figured out how to run on crutches. But I figured out how to run with crutches. Um, it was all like a it was all like a weird timing thing that you had to do. But I could really haul ass on crutches. I could run with crutches with one foot. Um, yeah, that was like one of the most painful things I ever did to myself was severely spraining my ankle like that. I came back and like all my weight went on the toe of my right foot, and I mean, it was bad. It was so painful. I laid in the street, and my brother was like, my older brother, he was like, "Get out of the street!" And I'm like, "Wow!" Just screaming. He realized that I was messed up. He picked me up, carried me out of the street. He was like, "Get out of the street! You're gonna get hit by a car." I was just screaming. I was like, "I hope a car hits me." That's what I wasn't thinking about anything. I was just screaming. It hurt so bad. I think I did that when I was 14 or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, uh, so yeah, I don't. As far as like getting back into things, and uh, I was checking out what the Justin Herbert cards were going for, and I was thinking about like waiting because you want to sell your football cards before the season gets started when everybody's all excited. But the Justin Herbert cards, because he won Rookie of the Year, are selling so outrageously well right now. I'm thinking about putting them up. So I keep going back and forth. I know I said I was going to sell some of my cards, but I was like, kind of doesn't make any sense. The season's over, but I've just been checking the prices out. It's like I have a lot of these cards to sell. I went through them and I was like, okay, I got 7 of these cards. These cards are selling for like $40 a piece minimum. Then these other cards, I was just shocked at what these cards are going for. I could try that. I don't know. I gotta do something. Just can't lay here and in defeat. I'm really just resting. I'm going to call it resting. I'm resting until, you know, I'm gearing up for the big game. I'm resting until I can put out that effort. I didn't even reschedule the appointment with the cardiologist. I don't really need to go to the cardiologist. I got over 2 bottles of the blood thinner pills. I got all the blood pressure pills I could want. And I got the flecainide stuff, which I don't even take, which is an anti-arrhythmia pill, but I'm afraid to take new medications because I'm not a pill guy and I'm afraid of pills. So there's really no reason for me to go to them except for to have them for later on. So, you know, maybe I'll make like a, I don't know. I don't really want to work with my legs either. Like I don't want it, it's extremely painful and it's frustrating to work with something that doesn't work. If you know what I mean, it's like it's different when I'm lifting weights with my arms. My arms work fine, but when I'm trying to work with my legs, I'm working with something that's already broken. You know, I don't know what it's like. It's like trying to eat spaghetti if your fork was made out of spaghetti. It was just bending, and every time you like tried to get a fork full of spaghetti, the fork would bend and all the spaghetti would fall off. That's like the kind of frustrating nonsense working with my legs is. And now that's when my legs didn't hurt like to the ninth degree like they do now. So I'm trying to think of some stretching exercises I could do with them, and then it's like, how the hell am I going to make myself do that? I don't have a clue, you know. And then I should be afraid though. I don't. I'm too emotionally disconnected from my situation. I should be afraid if I'm like hurting myself feeding my cat cheese and then like falling backwards all the time, and I'm falling backwards and just catching myself on my leg, and then my leg's all fucked up. For it's like I need to do something. You know, it's like if I'm not going to get professional help, I need to like exercise on my own. And it's like I don't know if I'm not young anymore, and I'm kind of used up, and like I don't know if I got the ambition or the willpower to do that. It's like that's torture, literal torture. Do I have the willpower to torture myself? I mean, I can at least do some stretching. So, like, I can, I don't know, not use that pants putter upper thing. That weird. I'm going to put the picture back in there. But however this thing works, I don't know what this part of it is for or anything. Let's see. I would have to buy all new socks. Oh, I see you put the sock over top of this so it opens the sock up. I can't bend my foot that way though. My foot don't bend that way. So here's what it looks like. So, but when you have a fused spine and legs that don't bend, it's a bad combination because you can't bend your back to reach down there, and if your legs, you can't bend your legs, your feet might as well, like I said, they might as well be in Oklahoma. But apparently, that's what you do: is you put the sock over top of this, and you slide your foot in there, and it's got clamps on the socks, and you pull the socks up. Sounds tricky, but it might work. Just because they sell a product doesn't mean it works, but it might work. I don't know. So, anyways, yeah. I, yeah, what can I say? I'm a lazy. I'm a boring. I mean, can't help it. Yeah. I'm lazy and I'm boring, and I don't like to open my door at 2 in the morning to help drunk people. Yeah. Um, yeah, I just don't have a lot to talk about that's not old. I mean, and I used up all my stories, so uh, I don't know how. Yeah, yeah, I don't know how to. Like I said, I need like a drill sergeant guy or somebody that's going to threaten me with. I do kind of have. I don't have a person that's threatening me. I have my own body is threatening me. It's like if you're falling over and getting hurt, and you're always in danger of falling and getting hurt. And I woke up that one morning and I fell like right over there. Like that's the first thing I did in the morning, and I landed. I landed good. I landed like in the doggy position on all fours, which is a good way to land. Not the best way to land, of course, and I've had vast experience at this, is straight on your ass. You know, especially now that I weigh 190 pounds and I got some cushion back there. Yeah, that's the best way to fall, but that's the second best way to fall is like that. Uh, I should amend that. That's the third best way to fall. The second best way to fall, besides flat back down on your ass and landing on your ass, you do sometimes get that shiver going up your tailbone, though. But the second best way to fall is on your side, and you're on your side, and then you tuck in your arm. It's like I'm an expert at falling, so yeah, that's how I fell when I fell off the porch and into the gravel. It freaked my brother-in-law out. And I just laid there. And he was like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And then I said, "I can't move. I can't move my legs." And he knew my medical condition. No, I said I can't feel my legs. I'm screwing up my old stories that I've told a million times before. Yeah, I'm so irritable and irritated with myself and my own banality. Yeah, I was like, I can't feel my legs. And he looked at me and he was like, "Man, you bastard." He knew I was fucking with him. Because, of course, I couldn't feel my legs when I was standing on the porch. That's why I fell off of the porch. Yeah, I fell off of this porch that had like 3 or 4 steps on it into gravel. And I turned and landed like that on my side. It didn't feel good, but it's better than landing on your face in gravel or trying to catch yourself, and that's when you hurt your wrist or your arm. Uh, but no, I don't. I'm just on here to uh, fess up. Uh, yeah, bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It has been 3 to 5 days since my last confession. I am a lazy, shiftless, narcissistic asshole. The sins that I have committed are all sins of omission. They have that in the Catholic Church, sins of omission. They not only get you, they not only gig you for stuff that you do, but stuff that you should do. That's rough. Like maybe that was a sin of omission last night when I didn't help that guy, but I was like, I don't know that guy. I don't know what the hell's going on with him. And yeah, I'm not opening my door. But anyways, yeah. So this is basically me confessing uh, my own, yeah, my own lassitude, laziness, moral turpitude. Oh, that doesn't work unless it's immoral for me to just bother you with my complaints, and not, and it's immoral for me not to try to improve my situation. I don't know. I don't think it's fair. Doggone it. It's not fair. Why? Why you do this to me? I don't know. Then, like, I don't know if you ever do that. This may sound like a crazy person talking because it is, but you be like, have you answer yourself. So you're like, sometimes I'll be like, why you do this to me? And the answer will come back to me. And it's like, yeah, you did this to yourself, man. You put yourself in this situation. And I was like, somebody, yeah, I forget that. They were trying to piss me off in the Cleveland Clinic in the pain management unit, which was more like a psych unit, frankly, but it was called the pain management unit. I don't know if they still have it in Cleveland Clinic. It's in 1991. And they were trying to like pin my troubles on me, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I didn't plan to grow a tumor in my spine. It just kind of happened. I don't think, I don't think that was my plan, because their idea was like people develop chronic pain conditions in order to get out of life. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I didn't do that on purpose. I don't, it's not, yeah, I wasn't sitting there thinking one day, you know what I could do to get out of, being a working person and to get out of life and life's difficulties and necessitudes. I'll grow me a spinal tumor. That's what I'll do. That'll take care of all my problems. No. Because there are people like my aid worker that just find excuses to get out of things and work the system and stuff like that. Like she's working on getting workman's comp for a fake fall. There might be a real injury. I assume it's a real injury. I shouldn't say it, but it's a fake fall because that's the story that she's making up. Is she fell while on the job. There's snow and ice around here, so it's completely believable, except for the fact that nobody saw her do it, and the person that was like 10 feet from the door didn't hear her fall, and she weighs 300 pounds, and she probably would make some noise. You think she'd cry out. If she really wanted to fake her fall, she would lay at the bottom of the steps and be like, ah! But then her arm would already have to be hurt. So what probably happened is she went about her day and did her job at that person's house where she said she fell, and then she hurt herself later, and then figured out like I can use this to my advantage and get workman's compensation. Um, 'Cause, yeah, so people use different ways of getting out of life because life's a royal pain in the ass, as we all know. Um, there's really no cohesive theme here. I almost went off the rails at the beginning of it because I got a little bit out there. I just wanted to like, I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of my job, even if I'm not doing anything, to get on here and, like I said, confess the fact that I'm not doing what I said, what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not doing what I said I was going to do. And also, I guess it's like Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcanon. Just to be honest about like, yeah, I counted out my pills. I'm taking more volume than I have been taking in the past. I also counted out my Neurontin. I have 28 left. It's not good. So, yeah, I don't want to get in a situation. I'm headed there where I'm like, okay, now I'm in miserable, horrible pain, and I have no Neurontin to knock the edge of pain off. Now I'm making the calls that I need to make, because my back's against the wall, and it's a lot easier to, And then there's also the fear, like I run out of Neurontin, and I compensate for it by taking more Valium to help keep me calm while I'm in intense, horrible pain. But there's also a thing like where pain muddies your mind, so when you're making those phone calls, you're really not yourself, and you're not sharp, and you don't know what the hell's going on, and nobody really gives a fuck if you're, you know, if you're in that much pain. As far as like when you're dealing with business people or people that are doing their jobs, and they're like, yeah, I've had people already tell me, you should know this, you should have this information ready. You should make my job easier. And, obviously I never say, well, I got this disease that puts me in a lot of pain. A lot of times I don't think too clearly because you don't do that. Making excuses doesn't help matters. And it just sounds like excuses to people, you know. Really, excuses is an interesting thing because you know what the difference between a reason and an excuse is? Which side of the fence you're sitting on. If you're the one giving the answer, it's a reason. If you're the one listening to the answer, it's an excuse. You know. So I've heard people actually tell me that I'm using CRPS as an excuse. I'm used to just laugh at stuff like that and just tell them like, okay, if you had CRPS, then your words might have some merit to it. You know, or I might care. That's why. No, I think that's part of the reason why I didn't really care about what people said about me because I have a unique set of experiences and a unique body. Uh, and a rare skin condition. Perfect. That's an old line from like Max Headroom. No, I don't. Obviously, that's not true. No matter what lighting, it's clearly not true. But yeah, I remember that line from an old TV show that was very short lived called Max Headroom, where he said, yes, I have a rare skin condition. Perfect. But no, that's definitely not true. But yeah, I have like a rare set of experiences, and I have a completely different nervous system than other people, and completely weird history, and therefore, why would I let what anybody say about me bother me? It's like you got no clue what it is to be me. Yeah, I've seen some weird shit. I've been around some weird shit, and then yeah, just the experience of being a human marionette. We use that for an example. That was really fucking weird. Is what they do to you before they. I don't know. This is what they did to me. Let me just talk about my experience. I don't know what they do nowadays, but they had these little platinum needles, and they talk to you while they're doing this shit. So they were explaining to me why they had to be platinum for higher conductivity or something like that. But they put these needles in various nerve points in your body. So they had me all wired up. And what they do when they do a major spinal surgery, at least back then, at least to me, is um, they wired you all up like that in order to tell if they were fucking you up. In other words, they're like, okay, we're going to make this cut here. All right, now make sure his nerves work by sending. If you're awake, which you're obviously not going to be awake during major back surgery, they would tell you, like, hey, move your finger. But they're not, you're not awake to do that, and they want to make sure that they didn't damage your nerves or they can make that cut or whatever. They would tell the guy in charge of it, like, press the button. And then they would do that, and they're okay, his nerves are still working because they're still, you know, your nerves work on a chemo-electrical process. So, anyways, they had me all wired up, and I was awake, and they were just doing it, you know, just to get a feel for it. For when they put me under, they would do the same thing. So, um, they were like, "Okay, move his right thumb." So I'm just sitting there. They're like moving different parts of my body, and I'm not doing it. So there's an experience not too many people have had. They're like sending impulses. They should have made me smile. You know, but I just remember the fingers because they were like, okay, move his thumb, move his, move his hand, move his fingers. You know, this is when I was 16 years old. I'm 53, so this is a long time ago. They might have been wiring me up before they put me under. There might not have even been a trial run. I remember it like it was a trial run, but you know that's from 37 years ago. But yeah, so I've had these really weird experiences. I remember like being carried bodily uh, when they were putting me in a cast, because they put you in a cast. At least back then, when they did back surgeries, they put you in a cast first before they made like a customized um, back brace for you. Um, but yeah, I've had all these really freaking bizarre experiences, and yeah, I guess it's why I'm just kind of worn out. But I think, um, interestingly enough, the physical damage is just something that you just go through and you're like cool with, but the emotional stuff is the stuff that lingers. So like the difficulties that I've had with my family and difficulties that I had even going through like grade school and high school had more of an impact on me than people cutting into me and taking parts out of me and slapping me back together, because that's not like an emotional thing. Even when I had that experience where the guy laid the toolkit on my chest and took an actual screwdriver and drilled a screw in my head while I was awake. It's like that really just is an interesting story. But going to school and listening to girls talk about me and saying stuff like, he's cute, it's just too bad he's too paranoid, had more of an impact on me than somebody taking a screw and driving a screw into my head. It's like I realized that day, like, okay, everybody here thinks I'm a freak. This sucks. It's like all these girls like me and think I'm cute, and but I'm too paranoid and I can't get any of them. I don't have any girlfriends, and I'm probably never going to have any girlfriends. You know, that was, of course, before I was turned into a human marionette. Had screws driven in my head. Had my spine, my fines fused. Had my spine fused, and had CRPS, and passed out 1,000 newspapers a week to get away from my murderous father, and you know, went lived in my sister's house, and then came out such a sympathetic and loving family. I come out of Cleveland Clinic pain unit after 38 days, and all my shit's piled up in my corner, or in the corner of the living room that used to be in my room in her house, which I paid to live there, but she decided that I didn't need to live there anymore and decided the best way to do it was not tell me about it. Just let me find out. I'd put two and two together and see all my shit piled up in the corner and be like, okay, I guess I got to find someplace else to live, and I got to find it pretty soon, apparently, because I don't have a room here anymore. But yeah, that's after spending 38 days in the hospital after I found out I had CRPS. Uh, yeah, I'm not gonna run through my whole life story though, because it it's a shame that I didn't keep a journal, or I can't keep all this stuff straight in my mind anyway. I mean, I have an excuse for when I was in the hospital because I was really kind of high at the time. A lot of the time I was high, you know. Uh, yeah, I talked about a lot of that stuff before, I'm sure. Anyways, because I don't have any. My life is very boring now. I actually like my life to be boring because when my life tends to be like a war, and of course I've used this line before too, and I'm really hating life right now for being so redundant and boring. You know, they say that war is a lot of boredom interspaced with moments of extreme terror. That's pretty much how my life is. I prefer my life to be boring because it's either boring or terrible. So I prefer it to be boring. You know, I, I, I don't prefer like the excitement of waking up and like being in arrhythmia and calling 911 or yeah, some of the other stuff that I've gone through. I mean, some of that stuff just was, where I almost bled to death. That's just a funny story that didn't really have that no emotional impact on me at all at the time while it was happening. You know, at the time while it was happening, I'm like, I seem to be very calm. Oh, well, that's because there's like, I don't know, like, it looks like I spilled a whole bunch of tomato juice beside my leg. Oh, that's my blood. And I stuck my finger in my own blood, and it was a pool that it was like that deep. I mean, it was over a half an inch deep pool of blood that was just I was sitting in, and I started to get all sleepy and shit. And I was like, "Oh, this ain't good. Take me to the emergency room, please." I told that story before, but at the time, it was just interesting. I wasn't particularly worried about it after going through all those surgeries and stuff. I mean, after you get like put into traction, have your spine fused, and have vertebrae removed, metal rods put in your back, have this thoracotomy scar and a rib taken out, and all that shit. That's just kind of interesting, almost bleeding to death. I was like laughing about it at the time it was happening. So, yeah. But I don't laugh about the emotional stuff. That's emotional stuff is the stuff that really kicks your ass in life. When people treat you bad, and like when you realize, when you have those moments, like with those girls, where you realize, like, yeah, uh, I'm messed up in the head, and everybody knows it. It's like, yeah, I know I'm paranoid. I know I got like anxiety and shit, but I didn't know everybody knew about it. And yeah, that was weird. Hearing girls discuss you when you're 15 years old and saying how cute you were, but it's too bad you're so paranoid. Yeah. And the emotional stuff, like, you don't even get any cut any slack coming out of a hospital. You come out of a hospital and there's your stuff piled up in the corner, and you get thrown out of the place you live. It's like, what I do? Miss the rent because I was living in the hospital? I mean, I wasn't even living in your house eating any food, but it really wasn't about that. It's about other stuff. And yeah, I can't talk about that, unfortunately. But like, I had like the major trauma and the turning point in my life. I remember like one of my family members was like, "Oh, you're not over that yet," and I don't want to talk about that, but uh, it's like I've been through, had parts of my body removed, been through spinal surgery, had my spine fused, and all that stuff that happened to me. And this was like way worse. And it's like, yeah, I just don't like to talk about it openly because it involves other people. And even though those other people aren't very nice to me, I just don't want to put their business out there, you know. Though I'm sure that if my family ever actually watched these videos, they'd disown me. Anyways, they wouldn't like what I had to say. Or I actually, the one family member that I'm talking about says, "You have to watch what you say." They wanted to control what I talked about. And I'm like, they were yelling at me about something or another. That's when they were yelling at me. Uh, or they were claiming that I was talking behind their back, and I said something to her mother about like maybe the fact that you uh, I was like, I said something about weed. I was like, maybe the fact that you don't have any weed right now is the problem. Because, in other words, you're being an irritating bitch for some reason. And then that got back, of course, because people talk, that got back to the daughter, and then the daughter was yelling about it. And it's like, you got to watch what you say to people. She was like yelling at me about that shit. She got offended because I claimed that the reason why her mother treated me like shit was because they had to go get some weed, and they had an appointment to get some weed, and she didn't have no weed, and so she didn't have time for my petty ass problems. You know, it's like, listen, I know this is the first time I heard you cry in 29 years, but yeah, I just threw that out there. I didn't really say like, you're acting like this because you have an appointment to go score you some weed. I just said like maybe that's the problem. So I was like, I said something about weed, and she's like, I'm not, don't even have any weed. I'm not even smoking right now. And I'm like, maybe that's the problem. And then that became a whole big thing. So in other words, like just the stuff that I do talk about here, my family would like really get offended by if they um, listen to this stuff. But I do keep some stuff on the DL because it's just so there's just certain things you don't talk about. Which I broke that rule with this one side of the family over here, and I have a video where I just like laid it all out there, and I was like, man, fuck it, you, yeah. I was like, I'm done with them anyway. So, and if any of my family came back on me and was like, what the hell are you doing talking about this shit on the internet? I'd be like, is it true or is it a lie? And they'd be like, it doesn't matter if it's true or it's a lie. And I'm like, well, it matters to me. I'm like, if you want to disown me because, frankly, you don't treat me good. So, you know, honestly, the reason why I hung in there with the one person for so long is because I was hoping to get some of my money back off of them. And it's like, I know they got issues and stuff like that, but I can't deal with them. And like, they were like threatening to disown me. That phone call I was talking about, where they were like, you got to watch what you say. It's like, man, you ain't going to tell me how to talk. First of all, I'm older than you, and nobody tells me what to say or how to talk, man. You know, it's like, so yeah, the emotional stuff is way worse than the physical stuff. Um, but the physical stuff's catching up now for me. It's like the physical stuff is to the point where like I've got presents like that, and I got like I said, man, to put on a pair of shorts, I actually can't just lean up against the wall to do it. I have to open a doorway and lean inside of a doorway and hold on to something, and then like hope I can get the one leg in, and then put that leg down, and then like if I'm flat footed and I'm stepping on the back of my shorts or whatever, it's like it's not. I just can't lift up my toe and pull the shorts or the pants up. I have to actually. I can't do that for risk of falling, and I'm not sure my feet will do that anymore. Even if I could, even if I didn't have to worry about falling. So, it's gotten to the point where it's gotten very complicated and frustrating. But I mean, the emotional stuff is just uh, brutal. You know, uh, the physical stuff. I mean, the bad part about that for me is I've already expressed here, and of course many times before, is why can't I get any help with this stuff? If you go to a doctor and it's their job to help somebody with that particular problem, and they're like, yeah, we usually do this for people, but not you. You start to feel like, what is it? Because I'm black? What the hell's your problem? You're racist. You just, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, that is the sort of thing that you deal with. It's not like when I had that one doctor send me to an arm and shoulder orthopedist for a problem in my foot. You actually deal with knees, you know. And the guy sent, that doctor sent me to a arm and shoulder orthopedist for a problem with my foot. What are you doing here? What? Don't I have an appointment? Yeah, you have an appointment, but didn't you read the sign on the door? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, it says, I'm an arm and shoulder orthopedist. You have a problem with your foot. And I was like, yeah, then my doctor must be stupid. And he just laughed. But it's like when you go to a knee doctor and you have a problem with your knee, and they're like, yeah, we don't care. We don't want to treat you. And I'm like, yeah, that's rough. It's not an enviable thing being me. It's not an easy thing. It's getting to the point of like, it's getting pretty impossible. Uh, yeah, like I said, I still want to try. It's not like I want to opt out or anything. I still want to try. I just don't seem to have the energy or the wherewithal to do it, and I don't know. I don't know how you find the will to keep going, or how you find the will to do like exercises that torture you. And I feel like I should have like a medical opinion before I start exercising. They always tell you like make sure you're healthy enough to have sex before taking Viagra. How about make sure you're not fucking up your knees before you start doing exercises with them? Because like I've said before, some stuff you exercise, some stuff you rest. I don't know what's going on inside that knee. I just know that it don't like it when I use it, and it hurts all the time. So I don't know. I just know I got to be getting weaker. I know I'm worse at walking, but you don't use something that's necessarily going to atrophy and get weaker, which is weird because I have more mass to me, but it's not like gooey. It's like it's very weird. It's like hypertonia. I guess what I do have there is like firm. It's like until you get to like the more normal parts of my body. But as far as like from here down, what's there is firm. It's just not really good muscle. Then what's up here is more flabbier because it's healthier, but unused, but it's stronger. None of it makes any sense. None of it. I don't know how I'm supposed to deal with it. And then I got like, I don't really have the emotional support. I have like wacky people to deal with, and I have like um, sometimes case managers and caseworkers that'll help me out, but usually not. And then the medical community doesn't seem to help much. And then I have aid workers that don't seem to help much. And yeah, you get that feeling like it's not even like the deck is stacked against you. It's like you're trying to play cards with fish. You're trying to play cards without without cards. I don't know why fish go fish. I don't know why I made that association, but you're trying to play a game of catch without hands. It's like I don't know. I can't think of an analogy or a metaphor for it, but it's like you don't even have the tools to work with to try. because like all these avenues are all like not cooperative and not helpful and not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Now the aid workers, I can't blame them 100% because they just want to force me to be an asshole. I mean, a lot of those aid workers are all fucked up and they don't do their job because they got a bad shoulder or they're old or they're. I feel like I should be an aid worker for them half the time until I hurt my knee. Like, or that guy hurt my knee on September 22nd. I used to have that thought sometimes. It's like I should be at their house helping them because they seem to be in worse shape than me and they're supposed to be helping other people. You have like really old people working that job and people that are got physical issues and stuff. Like my current person's got a bad shoulder where they I forget the names of the tendons and stuff, but she had like the same procedure that the Undertaker had done to his shoulder. I talked about the procedure the Undertaker had done to his hip, but he also had a problem with his shoulder where they have to reconnect the tendon in her shoulder. She's got something like that going on, so she's actually has permission from the agency not to lift anything heavy, and it's at her discretion. So I did the garbage. It was like 15 degrees out, but I carried the garbage out. I threw it out the window, and then I had to walk around on the porch in the snow in my socks and my shorts with the coat on, open, of course. I'm not getting dressed just to put the garbage out, but yeah, I did that myself because I couldn't ask my aid worker to pick up garbage bags. So, you know, I could test their limits. I just don't. I don't like people doing my housework. I'd rather just do stuff for myself. And I don't know if it's a shame thing or what, but, I just don't. I didn't like it. I had them like clean my house once and I didn't like it. I'd have them do dishes and stuff like that just to have them do something or sweep the floor. I think I had them do before, but mostly I just sent them to do laundry and stuff like that. So I really can't blame the aid worker situation uh, on them. It's up to me to force them to do their jobs. I think. Does that sound reasonable to you? I don't know. As far as like the doctors and the family and the other situations that I got going on, the situation with the landlord is I pay him like 3 and 4 months rent ahead of time, and we don't see each other. So, you know, the building. I don't know what's going on with Stampy. She might have been be on vacation. That is something that I do miss about being able to communicate with the landlord is like finding out what's going on in the building. But I just don't want anything to do with any of the people in the building. I don't want to get involved in any nonsense while I'm in benzo withdrawal irritation. I don't know if you can call what I'm doing withdrawal. I'm just taking less. I guess that's withdrawal, right? I'm taking less than I used to take. Even though, like I said, I took, what did I say, 24 pills in 18 days or something like that. Or 24 pills in 16 days. Which isn't really a lot. It's considered like an extremely light dosage. If you're taking 2.5 milligrams of Valium at a time and you're taking it 2 or 3 times a day, it's considered a light dosage. When they switched me from Xanax to Valium, they were wanting me to take like 80 milligrams of Valium at first. I'm like, I am not doing that because I would like to be awake. So you're talking about the difference between, you know, they were wanting me to start out like at 80 and then drop it down to 50 and 40 and 30, and I think I started at 30. They want me to start at 80. I'm not taking 80 milligrams of that shit. So even compared to what I was taking, because I had like 10 milligram tablets and I was supposed to take them like 3 times a day. I just said that all wrong. That's what I was taking. 10 milligram tablets like 3 times a day when I first switched from Xanax to Valium. So you compare 30 milligrams of Xanax to 5 milligrams a day. It's a big difference. That's what I started out at. They wanted me to start out for like 80, something ridiculous like that. Um, and then, drop it down. But I was like, I started at 30. I used to have it written down in a chart, but I was on the computer, but I had to wipe the computer clean. Oh, is anybody still listening to this? I'm not even sure I'm still listening to this. Yeah, just a random, rambling uh, stream of consciousness nonsense from someone who cannot pronounce words right anymore. I used to be so eloquent too, man. But man, you got to have a proper instrument to play. But this really has degenerated. As soon as I started talking about playing cards with fish, yeah, that's a good sign that it's time for me to go. So, anyways, you can absolve me now of my sins if you wish, or you can condemn me. It's entirely up to you. I'm not like that person I was talking about. I'm going to tell you what to say, or not say anything at all. That's what most people do. So I'm cool with that too. I'm just trying to survive. I don't know why. Habit, I guess. Trying to survive and trying to figure out how to make this life tolerable for my yeah for my remaining few years. I don't know. I don't expect to live very long. Uh, yeah, I really. If I see 60, I'll be surprised. I'm 53. It's got too many health stuff going on. But I would like to. I don't like quitting. I guess. Like I've said before, I was labeled as a quitter, and I was the guy that threw the game when you played chess or whatever. Instead of losing, I'd throw the game or like smear the cards around and knock over the chess pieces or knock over the checkerboard. I think uh, that is anyway. That my label was a quitter, so maybe I don't want to go out like that. I don't want to go out a quitter, even though like I'm admitting right now that I'm kind of like just quit, just kind of giving up. But it's just for the time being, you know. I mean, hey, I cooked for myself. I made myself some oatmeal and put some peaches in it. It's like, hey, I got some. I can actually eat oatmeal instead of like pretending to eat it. I made it with blueberries, and I was like, yeah, these blueberries taste like blueberry schnapps now. They're so old. They got that fermented. They have gone over, as the old people used to say. So I took like 2 bites of the oatmeal and oh, yeah. Okay. I am now filled with self-loathing at the banality and vapidness of this particular monologue. But you'll get that from time to time. Uh, Maybe it's not that bad, and I just feel like it's bad. But I feel like this is a really bad, bad waste of your time. But, anyways, what can I say? This is me. Sometimes I can be interesting. Sometimes I can be boring and annoying. Sometimes I can do all three at once. How can you be interesting and boring at the same time? Well, let me explain that to you. Good Lord, he is so boring. How can he stand himself? Then you're like fascinated by it. It's like, does this person actually hear themselves talking? You ever do that when you're watching a video? It's like, does he know he sounds like that? I do that sometimes. Yeah. I am, of course, a victim of eye candy, like most people with a wide chromosomes, so I'll click on a video of some woman talking because the little picture, it's like, oh, she might be good looking. And then you look at her and you listen to her talk, and you're like, good God, is she boring? And then you wait to just see how bad it's going to get. So yeah, you can be boring. You can be interestingly boring. So you can be boring and interesting at the same time. Uh, and actually, you can be so interesting that it's boring. If you want to flip it around, you ever listen to somebody that's really erudite, really smart, and has very fascinating things to say, but they do it in a droning, pedantic, academic way to where it's like, yeah, this is actually a subject that I'm interested in, and this guy is saying some profound things about it, but good Lord, the presentation is horrible. He is boring. How can you take a subject matter like that and just totally ruin it? That's my thing. That's what I enjoy listening to. Astrophysics, man. That's my thing. Not really. Just an example. And it's like, how can you make talking about the relation between space and time? Stephen Hawking is a rock star compared to you, dude. Yeah. Anyways, that's enough nonsense. Oh my God. Whew. Yeah, this is gonna be brutal. This will be a nice wake up call for me though, man. I'll go back and look at this and I'll be like, dude, make the phone calls, okay? Do something with your life. You, yeah, just do anything, man. If it results in hospital time, blood leaving your body at a high rate of speed, you know, anything at all, just do something, man. Uh, yeah, just if make your phone calls, go to your appointments. If it hurts getting in, if you have to be embarrassed, you know, about whatever, just go through it and do it. It's better than just laying here slowly dissolving. Yeah, like an Alka Seltzer tablet. And that fizzing you hear is just random words coming out of my mouth while I'm shrinking and turning into nothing. Yeah, that's kind of what I feel like right now. I do. I wake up and I'm like, what is the fucking point of this, man? Another goddamn day of laying around, not being able to walk on my leg, being too irritated to do anything, watching TV. I don't even like watching TV. I mean, not doing it. What is the point of any of this? You know? And then I'm like, at the same time, that's why I'm hoping to get so sick of myself that it will make me do the things that I need to do. So I just kind of like, instead of like, okay, today's the day I'm gonna make my calls, I'm gonna do my thing, and I'm just letting myself hit that bottom, just hit that bottom and come off, spring off it with your feet like the bottom of the lake, man. You let the undertow take you all the way down to the bottom of that lake and spring off of it and like go back up and instead of like fighting and fighting and fighting, just go with it and let it take you, and then you'll get to the point where you just, to use the cliche, sick and tired of being sick and tired, and then you'll do something about it and do what you need to do. And it's like, it's really ridiculous situation to be in where like, okay, getting ready for the appointment, I'm already too tired to go to the appointment. It's actually hard to get dressed, it's hard to get washed up, it's hard to do any damn thing. And then like now I have to try to get in a car, and I haven't gotten in a car in forever. I don't know if I can bend my legs or what that'll even feel like, you know. So some of that, I guess, is like a certain amount of fear about not, that will further like give me, light a fire under me or give me a kick in the pants though, if like I go through like an appointment for the first time and whenever, and I'm like, it's really just a horrible experience, you know. But I didn't want it to be like that, so I postponed, and I have all the medication, so that's why I postponed my heart doctor thing. So, um, I just told myself like, okay, you'll work your legs, you know, you'll um, limber up, you'll start exercise, and you'll start doing the stuff that you need to do, and then you can go to these appointments, and you'll not have to worry about stuff like, can I ride in a car? Can I make it? You know. Plus, there's all the snow on the ground I talked about for months. But can I make it without being carried out there? I'm too big to be carried now, so can I make it out there and make it to the appointment? And, oh, this is frustrating. Can I like? You think this would get pulled down if I call this video "pissing and moaning"? That's what I want to call it. Is pissing and moaning. Well, if it gets pulled down, it gets pulled down. I will actually call this pissing and moaning, and see if it if it gets pulled down or not. If like, I think I got 2 strikes left on my account, so yeah, because I got the 1 strike. It should be okay. Just in case anybody's still listening to this. Um, I don't know. I feel like I've been talking for like about an hour and a half. Uh, yeah, I'm just not sleeping right and not exercising. Like I said, man, I'm just not doing anything. I'm not functional at all. Not sleeping right. And that's what I really need to do is start sleeping right. And then I can get back to my usual dosage of volume. And then I have to figure out what I can do physically to help myself. And maybe try out my sock putter on or thing that my brother bought me. I could call him after I'm done blathering here. And yeah, conversations with him are kind of tricky. So since I'm all talked out now, I will be like real patient with him. If I call him, call him and thank me for sending me the sock putter on or thing. Like I tell him I haven't tried it yet. Um, it makes an impression on people though when you tell them like, yeah, I was cutting my toenails and I actually cut my toe instead of my toenail because it's hard to reach. So I was bleeding everywhere, and I got to put them on the blood thinner and stuff, and then they remember things like that. So that's probably because I told him that is probably why he got me this thing here. Uh, it's supposed to help me put on socks. But what's going to help me take off the socks? That's not easy either. So they have a sock taker offer. Can I just use that thing in reverse? But yeah, shit. What did I say? I said my back is so far against the wall. I have become part of the wall and can't move. That's kind of what I feel like. And like I just yeah. What am I gonna do? Like get down on a yoga mat and bend that fucking knee as far as I can to try to stretch it, and then like you know, I've already done this before, but like grab my leg underneath the knee and pull my knee up as far as I can toward my face and stuff. That's, I mean, I run a risk as far as like exercising because I get like a loss of. This is back when my legs actually worked. This would happen, but I get most people they get tired. They just get tired, but they still retain their coordination. When I get like fatigued and use my muscles a lot, I also will lose coordination and I'm more likely to fall down. So, I noticed this a lot when I would be walking. I would stumble and stuff. That's when I started noticing it when I was in my, probably still in my 20s. I would take ridiculously long walks and I'd get to the point where my toe would try to catch on my other foot, and I would stumble. Sometimes I would fall, if I remember correctly. But mostly, what would happen is my toe would hit the road funny, and I would stumble. And I'd be like, "Yeah, it's time to quit walking." Where most people just get tired and they're like, "Ugh." They're still good at the actual walking thing or the actual thing they're doing. It would be like a basketball player. Um, Instead of like being a little bit short on his jumpers, like falling when he went to do his jump shot, just falling over. They always say that, like, oh, that's when a guy's short on his jump shot in the fourth quarter. It's like, oh, he's played too many minutes. He's tired. But anyways, okay. Now that I figure like I've already like this is called bloviating. This is a word I've always enjoyed. Where you're just talking for the sake of talking. It's called bloviating. Now that I have bloviated my ass off, and I reached that point like about a half an hour ago. When I get to that point where I feel that like shame and stuff, I just go ahead and push through. And it's like, if I'm going to do this, we're going to do this all the way. I'm going to talk until I sound like a pork frog, until I sound like a frog, until I got it all worked out. But no, I'm pretty much done. But that is what I do. It's like I do get ashamed at talking for whatever reason. I start feeling ashamed, and then like when I feel ashamed, I usually just okay, I'm already there. It's like I guess like somebody that's oh yeah, man, this is my fifth Manhattan. Fuck it, man, set me up a couple of more. You reach that point where you're like, oh fuck it. Um, but yeah. So, anyways, that's the idea. Is sometimes when you get like this, you just have to ride it out, bottom out, and at some point, you either die or try. So, I figure next week I'll try, and yeah, I think I'll call my brother and listen to him for a while since I haven't talked to him for a long time because I just don't sleep regular hours. Actually called him last night around 11:30, but I think he was sleeping. His phone was off. I don't know. Um, I, it's so stupid to try to find a proper ending or a proper way to wind these up. There is no proper way to wind up rambling on about your misery for an hour and a half. There's no proper uh, bow to put on that package. Uh, anyways, well, they've stayed with me. I don't know why. That's me. But I guess I'm grateful. Uh, I appreciate that some people actually listen to me for even, I don't know, like I said, I don't know why you would stick through this whole thing, but if you did, thank you. And yeah, I'll talk to you in 3 to 5 days. Yeah, whenever my next confession rolls around. Hopefully, it's not a confession. It will just be a report. This was more like a confession. Uh, yeah, I go do my 10 Our Fathers and my 10 Hail Marys. And like I said, see you in 3 to 5. Goodbye.